2025, everything about e-commerce SEO is significantly changing. And after working with 78 different e-commerce brands in 2024, generating over $15 million in organic search revenue, I realized that I could be achieving more with less. So in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down what's in it for 2025 and what's out, so that you can lap your competitors and rank #1 on Google. These pieces of advice are a must implement in 2025 if you want to optimize your site for Google to scale your organic search revenue every single month without paid ads. Let's get into it. If there's one thing that's out in 2025, it is top of funnel blog content. And this one change in the late 2024, early 2025 Google algorithms completely eliminated the point of targeting top funnel content because AI overviews appear on most top of funnel searches now, which means even if you actually do rank #1 for top of funnel keywords, you're gonna lose 50, 60, maybe 70% of your clicks to the AI overview. You're still probably going to get more clicks than any of your competitors in the #2 and #3 spot, but we're talking a handful of clicks at best, and those clicks don't even convert into revenue. Now, when I first started doing SEO years ago, blogs were the most straightforward deliverable. 99% of people on earth thought that if you simply wrote blogs, you'd eventually drive enough traffic to break even on your SEO investment and rank #1. Didn't matter if it was top funnel, bottom funnel, middle of funnel, just write blogs, things will happen, okay? Felt like a colossal waste of time. Who on earth was going to buy an $80 face cleansing serum after searching for what is a cleansing serum, for example? The answer was zero. Zero consumers are immediately going to go from question that is at the very top of the funnel to purchase at the very bottom of the funnel within a few minutes of reading a blog post that you or I wrote. Even now, every single prospective brand asks me, how many blogs are we gonna write each month? The answer now is probably like 2 to 3. Less is in fact now more. Now, I've talked a lot about topical authority, and I still believe that topical authority is a critical component of the various search algorithms that are at play, but I've constrained my view strictly to the lower half of the funnel. Now, it may sound stupid, dumb, whatever, probably even a bit of a gamble on my end, but so far it is absolutely printing for our clients. So instead of writing hundreds of top funnel blogs that don't drive any revenue, just let your competitors do that meaningless work, and instead you can focus on 2 things. First, creating as many bottom of funnel collection/category style pages as you can find for keywords that you can identify. And second, targeting every single middle of funnel keyword that forces your website visitors to become actual paying customers and even captures users that fell out of your competitors' funnel. Since you're no longer focusing on top funnel content, it is extremely important that you focus on this next point to make up for it, or else all the work you put in will not help your website rank more highly on search. One of the most important things that is in for 2025, and I'm doing a ton of it, is more middle of funnel content. When it comes to this step, knowing how to optimize your middle of funnel correctly is the key to success in this new meta of Google. In 2025, while most marketers and SEOs are obsessing over the top and bottom of funnel, what if the overlooked middle of funnel is actually the secret weapon that could transform your entire search marketing strategy in 2025? Not tapping into the middle of the funnel will have you missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars like my clients are currently making every single month. Some of the best performing middle of funnel content formats in 2025 are versus articles. These blogs exist actually on your site, not another site, not a guest post, nothing like that. They exist on your site and they compare you against each of your competitors. Consumers spending anywhere above like $50, definitely if you're spending more, are going to compare you with each of your competitors. So you may as well create something that influences their decision towards you so they can become your paying customer, not your competitor. The other option we're running with is competitor alternatives. These articles exist for really one reason. They will help you easily scoop up all the potential customers that fell out of that particular competitor's funnel because that person didn't like the price, maybe they didn't like the ingredients, maybe they read the reviews, they weren't very happy, whatever. They still want the same product, they just don't want it from that brand. They just want to buy someone else. So you can be that other brand. Other format, best product type for a specific use case. Again, a year ago, these were dominated by affiliates. Now e-com brands are owning the entire stage of the search funnel with these kinds of keywords. So we create all kinds of articles for brands like this. Things like best protein powders for weight loss, best shampoo for alopecia, best lotion for dry skin, things of that nature. The last one is solution alternatives. A great example of this is Advil and Tylenol. You probably heard that Advil wasn't good to take on an empty stomach, so you probably searched for Advil alternatives and maybe you stumbled upon Tylenol or whatever else, right? Now, I'm not a pharmacist, I've taken both. They seem to do the same exact thing for me. Another good example is coffee and energy drinks. Someone searching for a coffee alternative is primed to buy an energy drink for one reason or another. They could also be interested in mushroom coffee, something like that, but they are not ready to buy coffee anymore and they want to buy something. Now, if you're a 7, 8, or 9-figure Shopify brand that's interested in me walking you through these new 2025 changes step by step, just like I'm doing for for all of our brands, you can click the top link in the description to book a call with my agency. In 2024 alone, I helped over 70 different Shopify stores boost their organic search revenue and traffic strictly with SEO. The last step to correctly optimizing your e-commerce store's SEO is correctly building internal links between your entire funnel. Not understanding this step, you're probably going to skip out on thousands of dollars in sales and practically listen to the last 2 steps for no reason at all. Completely a waste of time. Imagine building a 7-figure e-commerce store where every single SEO tactic is in place except this one final piece, internal linking. Now, it's not just an oversight, it is almost offensive to yourself. It is quite literally one of the easiest wins you will find in e-commerce SEO, and everything else you've done will be a waste, leaving thousands of dollars of future revenue on the table, even after you've spent months of work and probably thousands or tens of thousands of dollars on your investment. But now, I am going to break it down for you in the simplest way possible, visually. I have built out different variations of, or versions rather, of kind of this diagram. So I'm going to show you a few examples of how this works, and you are going to get a very intimate understanding of how internal linking works and why it is so important. This is the framework at a very high level, right? We're going to walk through each funnel stage. You've obviously seen a customer funnel, top funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, okay? I know there are theories and ideas that there are 5 different stages. We are keeping this very simple with 3. It will work the exact same way. Everything is color coded, hopefully make it as easy as possible for you. Let's get through this, okay? So top funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, very straightforward here. The arrows on the outside of this that are going all the way around indicate which direction you should be building links. So we're going to start at the top of the funnel. Top of the funnel, you will notice you can build links. This is yellow and red. So you can build links laterally, meaning to other top of funnel blogs, and you can build them down to the middle of funnel, which is why that's yellow. So you can build them laterally or downward to the middle of funnel. You can also build them downward to the bottom of the funnel. If you're at the top of the funnel, you can build links laterally or downward. That should make sense at the top. You obviously can't build links upward. Pretty straightforward at the top. The middle is where it can kind of get confusing. Now let's go to the middle. Middle of funnel. You can also build links laterally. So if you have multiple middle of funnel blogs, you should build links between them. Now, just go back to the top of funnel. I know I just harped for like 5 or 10 minutes saying that top funnel content is kind of done with, right? However, I work with brands who have been producing top funnel content for years, and I'm guessing if you're watching, you've produced some top funnel content. So you do need to consider it within your strategy as far as your internal linking goes, okay? I'm not creating pretty much any more of it, but I do need to consider what's on the site so that I can make best use of it. Anyways, middle of funnel. You can build laterally between the middle of the funnel, between similar middle of funnel blogs. You can also build downward the bottom of the funnel, which should make sense. However, you cannot build up the funnel. Do not build links from middle of funnel blogs to the top of funnel blogs, okay? The golden rule of e-commerce is to move people closer to checkout. If you go up the funnel, you are not helping them get closer to checkout. In fact, you are actively hurting yourself. Now, in addition to kind of like that customer psychology, there's also a very important SEO reason. The next diagram I show you is going to be a little bit more clear. Now, last step here, bottom of funnel. You're at the bottom of the funnel, okay? You cannot build links any further down. However, you definitely cannot be building links anywhere up. Again, same thing. We don't want to move the customer up the funnel. We also, for another SEO reasons, which I'm going to get into in the very next diagram, should not be doing that anyway. You see this thing at the bottom here? Do build links this way. That's laterally. If you have a primary collection or category, however you want to think about it, that's great. You probably also, if you've watched my videos before, you know I'm big on like subcategories. You should also have those, okay? For all intents and purposes, right now, categories and subcategories, we're going to view them in the exact same light. One is not further down the funnel than the other. They are equal. Moving on to the next diagram here. We're going to look at this kind of from a bird's eye view, let's call it. This is the exact same thing I just showed you in funnel, but from an overhead view. Let's start the most outer ring here. So top funnel blogs. We said we could build links laterally between similar top funnel blogs or downwards, okay? These arrows indicate links between top funnel blogs. Blog 1 links to blog 2, blog 2 links back to blog 1, so on and so forth. I didn't want to crowd this diagram with a ton of arrows. This top funnel blog, for example, could also link to this top funnel blog. I just didn't want to draw a million arrows on this thing. So top funnel can link between each other. It can also link downward to the middle of the funnel, right? Makes sense. You can build down the funnel. We've said that. We've established that. Next thing, it can also build down to the bottom of the funnel, which we've also done. We've also made that very clear. That's top funnel content. That's top funnel internal linking. You can build laterally, you can build downwards. Now notice I built both the middle and bottom funnel. That is fine. That is good. Next row, yellow, middle of funnel here. Building laterally, okay, between similar middle of funnel blogs, also building downward into the main collection. You'll notice the arrow attached between it and top funnel, you'll notice it only flows one way. That is by design. You should not be building links from the middle back to the top of the funnel. Do not do that. That's why this arrow only flows downward. Now, moving inward, let's look at the bottom of the funnel. Look at how many arrows are pointing into this page. If you have any sense of understanding, you should very clearly see that this is the most important page in this diagram. Visually, you understand that. Now, with all the internal links you've built, if you can like replicate that over, Google is also now going to understand, based on all the links you pointed to this, that this is absolutely one of the most, actually not one of, the most important page on your website. The more internal links you point to it, the more Google is going to value the page. Now, we've not talked about the arrows between the bottom of the funnel yet. Let's get to that. So this is kind of a zoomed in view. Again, I didn't want to crowd this with arrows, so we're extracting this out. We have a main collection. Now, these also say main collections, you'll notice. However, they're smaller to indicate that they are in fact sub-collections or subcategories. Again, however you want to think about that. Now, you'll notice the arrows are kind of free-flowing here by design. Yes, bottom funnel collection links to sub-collection, which links back to this collection as well. It also links to sub-collection 2, which also links back to it, so on and so forth. Also, every single sub-collection links to one another, right? If I've got, let's say sunscreen, okay? Like, let's say I want to rank this for natural sunscreen, okay? Let's say this collection here is like natural sunscreen for swimming. Let's say this one is natural sunscreen for skiing. And let's say this one is natural sunscreen for surfing. And let's say this one is natural sunscreen 30 SPF. All of those are going to link together using internal links within the collection description. This is important. This is how you spread authority throughout all of your collections. This is very, very effective tactic. And I'm going to show you actually a website that does it really well. But essentially, like, if you can envision the 5 of these together as one like kind of cluster or core, these pages are kind of like a rising tide lifting all ships. As one starts to move up, the others will also start to rise as well. You can get a lot more done as opposed to just having one page. Now, one quick example before I show you collection description, internal linking, is I want to talk about kind of the nuance with this. So let's just stick with the sunscreen example, okay? Let's assume it's a skincare brand and they don't just sell sunscreen, they also sell a cleansing serum, which I commented earlier. This graphic right here will exist for every single one of your categories. Basically every single category slash collection slash product type, which are functionally the same thing, every single one of those will have their own little cluster and own funnel, quite frankly. This top of funnel blog may be about the benefits of natural sunscreen, or, you know, what even is natural sunscreen, for example, right? And again, we're not doing those in 2025, but they may already exist for you. All of these links are going to point down to the sunscreen collection, and then we'll use the main collection to leverage the sub collections. Now, if I've got an article about face cleansing serum A versus face cleansing serum B, that's a middle funnel blog in an entirely different cluster and an entirely different funnel on my website. That's actually going to be a second cluster, like somewhere over here, and that's going to be strictly about cleansing serum. Now, let's look at a brand that does this really well with sub collection. Gymshark. Everyone should be familiar with Gymshark. They have a nice collection description. It's optimized. It's great. I'm actually competing against Gymshark right now. They rank number 1 for a lot of the keywords I am going to now outrank them for. However, it's not going to be easy because they do this exceptionally well. Okay, so this is their women's short collection. I'm competing on these keywords, which is why I'm using this as a reference point. Women's gym shorts is a very broad keyword, right? However, there's a lot of other like subcategories of gym shorts. They've got running shorts, they've got gym leggings, they've got gym joggers, right? They're not like what you would probably traditionally think of when you think of gym shorts, but they are kind of in the same wheelhouse. So that's good. Now, they do get more specific as we go down to the bottom. So they have a collection description. It's optimized to their target keyword. This is why it's working. This is probably why they rank number 1, in addition to their link building and all that other stuff. Why they rank number 1 for so many keywords that I'm competing with them against. What they do really well at the bottom too is these other sub collections with leggings. Gym shorts and gym leggings are functionally a different product. The same material, one is quite literally just shorter than the other. Someone like searching for this may be interested in shopping their leggings as well. People who shop Gymshark, like these like all-in brands, they don't just buy one thing. Like they're gonna buy a bunch of things over time. It's like Lululemon or Nike, right? Like you don't own one pair of Lululemons, you own probably 3. In any case, this is great for both SEO and also great for their customers. You're looking at all leggings, which means they're shopping a similar category to shorts. And now they've broken all these out into different types of leggings, as well as other types of shorts. These links are all hyperlinked, internally linked basically to another new collection, all optimized for the respective keyword. They're using exact match keyword anchors as they should be. You should be too on your own collection page. It's not against the guidelines in any case. So if I click on this, like it's gonna take me to a high-waisted leggings page. Optimized perfectly for it. Okay, now this is a lot of internal links on a collection page, I will say, but it's working for them. So if you're struggling to rank your collection pages, I would build out a ton of sub collections and I would take this route and see what you can do. In order to succeed in 2025 in e-commerce SEO, you must adopt this whole less is more mentality in this new era of search, the one I just described. If you're a 7, 8, or 9 figure Shopify brand that's interested in working with my agency, click the top link in the description to learn more. Thanks for watching.